Further indication of disasters and war. The forthcoming time will burden you extraordinarily, for world events will enter into a new phase, the restlessness amongst nations will increase, each one will consider the other as the enemy and nothing will be seriously done to establish peace even though all people will be longing for it. But materialism is the driving force of all plans and undertakings, and everyone aims to gain the greatest advantage, yet no one is fair in his thoughts and intentions and motivated by good attitudes while misfortunes increase fear and unrest, for God himself still tries to make himself known to people, since only the belief in him and his might is the right counterbalance for all adversities and afflictions which you humans are approaching. Consequently, there will also be more natural disasters, so that a higher power will be acknowledged, for whatever people do will only ever deepen their hatred for each other but not lead to spiritual reflection. Heartlessness will take on shapes which will soon be unsurpassed, and the state of people warring against each other will therefore become ever more determined. There will be anything but peace amongst people, although the great conflagration will not have yet erupted but will not fail to materialize. People themselves live their lives indifferently and only a few spend thought on the fact that this state of affairs cannot continue for long. Yet the people in charge are generally spiritually blind. There will be much talk, but these will be just empty phrases which will not be followed by actions. For the earthly hardship will not be remedied where it is clearly recognizable, and since the commandment of neighbourly love obviously remains unfulfilled, the spiritual state cannot be good either, although they will be living in earthly prosperity and will apparently not have to go without anything. The souls, however, will go hungry, and yet people will be unapproachable for spiritual instructions which would provide the souls with the right nourishment. People should look around themselves open-eyed and be seriously critical of their own lives, then they will learn to understand and be able to observe the forthcoming events with the right realization which, although they have always been announced, only now become more significant in view of the serious difficulties of those who are directly affected by it. Yet these are the last days, and since people no longer have any faith, it requires especially severe strokes of fate in order to disturb them, so that a few will find their faith in a God and Creator again to whom they owe their existence, in order to make them think why and for what reason this God and Creator has created them. It is a matter of life or death for you humans, of infinite beatitude or torment and anguish, of brightest light or absolute darkness. And thus, anyone who wants to be happy and live eternally in light has to fulfill his God and Creator's will. He has to try to discover this will and then live a life of love for God and his fellow human being. If, however, he does not believe in a God, then his whole earthly life will have been pointless. He will constantly contravene the law of divine order, and revoking the laws of divine order will always result in chaos, and you humans are now irrevocably approaching this chaos. And it will not just affect you spiritually, but the earthly world will also be completely turned upside down. Time and again you will receive news about natural disasters, accidents and other calamities, for there will no longer be any harmony and peace in a world which is devoid of all love and faith. But whoever has found the path to God, who endeavors to fulfill his commandments of love, who hands himself over to him in spirit and in truth, who prays to him and appeals for his protection, will also surely receive it, for these people belong to his small flock who will persevere until the end, who will not let their faith waver, who will stay together and carry God deep within their hearts, and who will therefore be lifted up in the end if God does not recall them to his kingdom sooner, if it is his will. Again and again your attention will be drawn to what lies ahead and comes ever closer to you. Even if you are of little faith, you will be unable to prevent it, and you can, with absolute certainty, stand up for what is announced to you, for the point is that people should be told that everything has been taken into consideration in the plan of eternity, that everything is dependent on God's will, who, however, proceeds in his wisdom and love in order to accomplish the work of return to him, and will also achieve the goal one day. Amen.